Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the final portion of our concerts this evening. You are in for a big treat tonight because before you sits the largest NorCal honor band we have ever had. The students have been working very hard for the last few days and, in fact, the last few weeks on the music before they even came here. And I've been sitting in their rehearsals and they have been working very hard and been very focused. And the music is going to be a testament to that. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome to our stage our maestro for this portion of the concert, the director of bands here at Sonoma State University, Dr. Andy Collinsworth.
welcome to Weil Hall. It's my great pleasure to work with these students up here. They are amazing. I'll tell you more about them as we go along. The first piece we played was by Armenian composer Aram Khachaturian, and it's a piece I actually adapted from an arrangement, a different arrangement of the piece that was originally written for Russian band, for the Red Army, believe it or not, in 1943. And the Russian bands at the time are vastly different than what we have here, and so I created an edition last fall for a full symphonic band, and I hope you enjoyed that work. So exciting. The next piece is by one of the most celebrated composers of our time, Julie Giroux. Julie is a very famous Hollywood film and television composer. If you remember the series in the 1980s, North and South, that was her first project. She worked with Bill Conti on that, and has gone on to a very successful career as a composer, including for wind band. This next selection is called One Life Beautiful, and it's written in celebration of a beautiful life from a tragic event. Ray Kramer, who was one of my colleagues, one of the most respected collegiate educators, they lost their adult daughter some years ago, and he wanted to commission a piece from Julie to celebrate her life. So it's not one of these sad, elegiac type of tunes, but it's very beautiful and uplifting. You're going to hear a particular melody about 30 seconds in. That's just this gorgeous melody, and you're going to hear that melody several times. You'll hear it the first time fairly prominently, as if the memory of this person is very vivid. And then the second iteration is somewhat softer, as if the memory is fading a little bit. And then the third iteration is the softest, as if it's a distant memory. So time passes, right? And time heals all wounds. And then towards the end, the melody comes back a fourth time in full glory in a different key. The ending is just really delicate and special. I hope you enjoy this gorgeous work that Julie's giving us. It's One Life Beautiful. Our next selection is in 4 movements, and it's entitled The Wind in the Willows. And you may remember the Kenneth Grahame novel of the same title. If you've ever been to Disneyland, if you haven't read that book and you've been to Disneyland, you've certainly been on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Only the greatest ride ever, right, at Disneyland. This is by a Dutch composer, Johan de Meij, and he's tried to paint a musical portrait in 4 separate movements that tells the story and threads together particular themes from the book. So the first movement is entitled The River, and this is basically just creating an atmosphere. So as you listen, it starts very mysteriously. You might think there's a river, maybe a forest with some misty fog in there, these beautiful chords. The first 4 notes that you hear in the basses form a theme that comes back in each of the movements in some fashion. Sometimes it's really overt, you can hear it, sometimes it's hidden. So the river connects all things. The second movement is entitled Ratty and Mole, and these are the 2 main characters of the book. Ratty is very energetic and he's very adventurous, and he wants to seek out new things, leave his own home and go see different things, travel down the river. His friend Mole is quite the opposite. He's very cautious, very thinking, and he doesn't want to take chances. So the 2 of them, they have their own individual theme, and you'll be able to tell the differences between them. Towards the end of this second movement, there's sort of a big fanfare. And if you can kind of think, they join forces and they say, we are going to do it. Ratty's convinced Mole, we're going to go on this adventure together. And then they travel down the river, and who do they encounter? Mr. Toad. He's the haughty, willful, full of himself character who is very reckless and dangerous, and he has a passion for fast cars. And so he wants to get into trouble, and you'll hear a very prominent car crash scene. This has been, we've had so much fun with this one. You'll see, I won't give away the secret, but there's a big car crash. Might make you jump. Right? Well, Mr. Toad survives that car crash. Of course, he's unscathed. And that leads us right into the 4th movement, the return of Ulysses, and sort of a happy ending, if you will. All of the friends and characters in the book get together, and they're going to have a feast and a parade. So it ends up kind of at the march flare, and then that fanfare from the end of the second movement comes back at the very end in a glorious fashion. We hope you enjoy The Wind in the Willows. Well, I think we heard some sounds. We could probably add that to the next one. What was that? Like a cricket sound or something? Interesting stuff. Well, we've come to the conclusion, but I would be remiss if I didn't offer a few thank yous. We've heard some of these before. First of all, thank you to Dan Sedgwick and Cassie Scowcroft and all of the members of the NCBCDA board for the opportunity to work with your students. Parents, we've kind of given the teachers their due, but I need to tell you, these folks persevered. Many of these people have been my friends. I've known them for years, and their dedication to get our kids through the last 2 years and during the pandemic, you can't say enough about that. And I know it was said earlier, Dan said, we're back, but I really feel the future is really bright with students like this and students that are in the classrooms throughout California. These teachers, they're giving up a weekend to come here. Many of them are going to be back in 2 weeks in Fresno for another conference. They give and give and give, and the output that they put here on the stage with all of the groups we've heard today, it deserves a round of applause. And I have those teachers stand, please, and let's give them a round of applause. There are so many people here this weekend that have made this event happen, that are behind the scenes, and they're back in the back, and they're back here right now. I have to acknowledge Dave Neubauer, Joseph McNiff, Tony Mellon, and Jared Butler. They are the GMC staff here, the tech staff. These guys are pros, and they have treated us like they always do, as if we were the Vienna Philharmonic. How about a round of applause for those? In addition, there are so many people, and I apologize if I'm missing a bit, but Albert, Enrique, Jennifer, and the front of house staff here, our student staff, Alex, Adrian, Charlie, Sierra, and many others. These folks have worked tirelessly the last 3 days. How about a round of applause for those folks? And finally, I know it's been said about all of the other groups, so fantastic to hear you. These 109 students on stage here, they are special people. This has been one of the most enjoyable experiences of my teaching career, working with these folks. Where they started on Thursday, it was OMG. Actually, they were so professional and well behaved, and it was just a treat to make music with these people on stage. And my heart is with all of you. And if I could keep you all here at Sonoma State, I would. You are welcome to be here anytime. One more round of applause for these fine folks. What better way to close a concert than a march by John Philip Sousa? This is called the Highschool Cadets, composed in 1890. Really no special reason other than there was like a drill team, sort of like a cheerleading squad, drill type of team that commissioned Mr. Sousa to write a piece of music for them that would be better than the rival cadet team. And I think he probably succeeded. I don't even know what that other team's march was, but this one probably rocked. It's a fantastic march. By the way, you need to know your tax dollars at work. The U.S. Marine Band has made for free full scores, all of the parts, and reference recordings on their website. You never have to buy another Sousa march again. because what they've done is they have taken the Sousa band books. You need to know this history. When Sousa published the marches, he was forced to put it on little marching band size folio, and nothing changed. But yet when the Sousa band, which was the most famous band, they were the rock stars of the 1890s to the 1920s, truly. They were the popular music of the day. And people were always amazed, well, why doesn't my band sound like that when we play the same march? Well, they had a lot of scoring secrets. They had instruments lay out here, added them here, changed dynamics, did different things that specialized it. And nobody knew what the secrets were until the Marine Band editors have done this. They've been working on this project for about 8 or 9 years now, and they're almost through the end of copyright. Sousa died in 1932, and so when that 90 years passes, all of those marches will be available. So thank you for your tax dollars and your support of the military bands. And I just want to give one shout out. The U.S. Navy Band from Washington, D.C. will be right here on this stage, March 17th. If you have never heard one of the National Service Bands, OMG. They're great. So without further ado, our final piece, High School Cadets.